Hey everybody, Chris, Four Directions Bushcraft. I'm just in the park today and wanted to do a quick video on spalling some chert and getting it down to a biface, or getting some spalls off so you can that you can work with to knap an arrowhead. Pressure flaking and all that I'll do in a different video, but I just wanted to show you how to kind of pick out a platform, how to strike it, and how to knock a good flake off. That way you can start getting good flakes to potentially knap into an arrowhead or to turn into a biface. I can do a biface video some other time, but this is just going to be the first video leading up to that. The first video in the series of flint knapping that I'm going to try to put together. Now, I mean, I consider myself pretty much a beginner at flint knapping. There's a lot of different videos out there with guys that can knap arrowheads pretty darn good. Will Lord is a guy that can that really knows what he's doing with the flint knapping and making stone tools and stuff like that. So look him up on YouTube. There's a couple other ones out there too. But anyway, this is some of the stuff that I've learned from them and some of the stuff that made it easier for me. So let's get into it real quick. I picked out a few stones that I found from the river that I've already heat treated. I'll do a video on that later. That I thought might be potentially pretty good to get some good flakes off of. You can see this has plenty of natural platforms, and I'll go over what a platform is here in a minute. This is a good looking stone as well. And here's a couple other ones. And we'll see if we can't get a good spalls off of these to begin our flint knapping process. So let me pick a stone out here and we'll see which one I want to work with first. We'll just try this one. Now this one, if you notice, has a crack going here, air pockets here, so I may only get a little bit right here, maybe right here, that's going to be workable. So when you're first beginning, really a lot of this is trial and error. I mean, you pick up a stone, you start hitting it on platforms and see where the percussion goes through, how it goes through the stone, where it's going to end up, where it's going to stop, and you just you start getting a feel for it after that. You know, a lot of learning with flint knapping is trial and error. I mean, I've hit stones, and for sure I knew it was going to go all the way through the stone, and it stops and the stone breaks in half, and then that's it. So a lot of this is trial and error. You just got to find some stones, start hitting them. So that's how you learn. But we'll try this. We'll see if we can't get some working pieces out of this. I know that without even taking a flake off of this, in the middle it's gonna end up being pretty good probably. But I have this crack here, and it actually goes up here. I don't know if you can see that. There's another crack here, but I've heat treated this stone and it didn't crack during that process, so maybe it'll hold together. So I have my piece of leather. I just picked this up at the arts and crafts store. It's just a cheap piece of leather. I usually lay that on my lap right here. I got my glove, even though I don't use it all the time. This is for my my right hand, or my left hand, I'm sorry. So I can hold my stone and then hit it. I have my 2 copper boppers. This is a 3/4 inch and then 1/2 inch. copper boppers. Look at my copper bopper video, and you can see how to make these for real cheap. They're not very hard. And then I have two different hammer stones that I'm working with today. I have this one, which I like because it's more like a hammer. I can rest this piece up against my hand and kind of strike down. And then also I use this right here to abrade my edges, and I'll go over that here in a minute why I do that. And then this is another stone that I found. This is quartz, and this is just a regular river rock stone. They use these a lot for decoration, like around apartments and stuff like that. Real hard stone. Good for using as far as hammer stones go. Now, I'm more familiar, or I'm more comfortable with using my copper boppers. The reason being, I just use them more often. The copper boppers are essentially the same as my hammer stones. I use them in the same way. I use them to reduce big stones, to take spalls off. But I use my copper boppers more often. I feel like I have more control with those, okay? So I usually switch between, I usually knock spalls off with my half-inch copper bopper, and then I'll usually abrade the edges of my stone and prepare a platform with my hammer stone. So I usually switch on and off. I look at the stone and I try to imagine where I want to knock off a piece that potentially might be flat enough, might be long enough that I can knap an arrowhead out of. I try to imagine where a usable piece might come off of. Now, when I'm looking at this, I see this is a platform. So it's a natural platform. You would strike down on here and remove a piece from the bottom here. So when I look at this stone, I see that this is my most potential area of this particular stone. So what I want to do is try to remove a piece from the bottom here that might, you know, if I strike down on this natural platform right here, that might remove a big piece from down here. Now, what I want to do is shockwaves usually, sorry, let me adjust the camera. Shockwaves usually follow your facets or ridges in your stones, is what from my experience. So we see a ridge coming down this way. We see a ridge coming down this way. And this is my platform that I want to strike to remove a piece off of here. So what I want to do is I want to hit it either on this ridge, so closer to over here, on this ridge, on this platform, to follow this ridge down, or somewhere over here, maybe on this natural platform, to follow this ridge down. It would not be good, or it could be good, depending on the rock. See, it's trial and error, to hit it in the middle, because this platform goes up, this one goes down here. There's no platform running, or there's no ridge running down through the middle. So what I'm going to try to do is hit it on this edge, or turn it over and hit it on this edge to follow this platform down, because I want a long shock wave going down. I want it to follow this ridge to remove a large piece. That's my goal anyway. We'll see how it goes. So I'm just going to go with my my half-inch copper bopper. That's what I love to use. I love this thing. So I see that there's a few cracks in here. You can't see it on the camera, but I see that there's a few hairline cracks in here. So that's the problem with Missouri chert that I find at the river. There's a lot of little cracks in it, and it might break apart. So we're gonna hit this, we're gonna strike this and see how it works. Now I don't have to prepare this platform. I don't have to prepare that platform because it's already a natural platform. It's already rough. I know that when I strike it, the shockwave will go as far as it can. Now, once I start creating platforms, I'll have to abrade these edges to prepare them to be struck. If I fail to do that, and I just keep striking and striking wherever, the platform will crush and just go into the stone just a little bit. The shockwave will not travel through the stone as well. So, as when I start hitting this and making my own platforms, I'll have to abrade the edges every time. That way when I strike, it'll be just like this one. It'll already be prepared, and it'll send that shockwave farther into the stone. So keep that in mind, and you'll see me doing that. So when the stone is big like this, I like to keep it on my lap. I like to angle the stone up a little bit. That way this part of the stone is not laying against my thigh. If this part of the stone is laying against my thigh and I hit it, the shockwave is only going to go that far as it's laying up off of my knee. So by leaning the stone this way, I can tap this, and the shockwave will then travel through the stone that's not laying on my knee, therefore giving me a longer shockwave. So I tilt it up a little, and then we're going to strike this edge. So that just crushed. Those hairline fractures that I saw in there were the difference there. They stopped the shockwave from going all the way down the stone. So that's what I run into. I mean, so see how that's real sharp now? That edge is real sharp where I struck that. See, the shockwave stopped right there, and then it cracked there. There was a crack already in the rock, and then it cracked there, so it just broke into pieces. Pretty crappy. That is real sharp. So if I strike that again, the shockwave's not going to go anywhere. It's going to stop right there, and it's going to crush, and I'm going to have a big mess. So what I have to do, if I wanted to strike there again, I'd have to knock those pieces off, roughen that up a little, and that's what my hammer stone is good for. Now see, I already created a mess there too. Again, just by doing that, I fractured all that. Now I got step ridges in there. So I'll have to work by that. This rock might not be good. Let's try to hit it again.
Hello.
Hello.
What are you doing?
We'll try to hit this ridge here and try to get it to go down this way. Well, I got kind of a corner off there. Not very good again. But you can see the color in that. It's really good. I mean, that could be a stone tool. But it's a corner. I'm not going to nap it out into an arrowhead. But if need be, I could strap it between two sticks and make a little cutting edge out of it in a survival situation. So none of this is too wasted, but let's try to get a good piece where we can at least nap it. Just knocking little pieces off to abrade that edge. That way if I do want to strike it, the shockwave at least will go farther into the stone. Let's try our hammer stone. This one.
I found it.
Oh yeah, that's good. Little clover. Don't eat that one, because they're not hearts. It's not wood sorrel. No, remember they got to be upside down hearts. Wood sorrel is not out right now because it's not.
It needs to be summer to do that.
Yeah, it's still too cold.
Oh, they like the wood or the warm. Oh, that's a nice one, Daddy.
Careful, it's sharp. So that still could be a good tool, but it's got a lot of air pockets in there. So the shock wave didn't go, see how it stopped right? See how it stopped right there? That's right where that crack is, so let's try a different piece. So this edge is real sharp. So in order to take something off of this, I'm gonna have to prepare that. So hopefully, this rock hadn't turned out very good. Might have to switch here. Hopefully I can drive a flake off of this by hitting on this platform that I created. But because I created it and it's not natural, you have to make sure that you prepare it. So you just scrape it, make it real rough like that instead of sharp. That way it's strong enough so when you strike it, it'll knock a large flake off, hopefully. Kind of like that. This rock has a lot of so you see how because I prepared that though, you get the point. You see how it went from here when I struck down on it right there. Struck it right there. And it broke off. And went all the way down there. So, because this rock has a hairline fracture right there, you can't hardly see it, it stopped. But it did better than I thought it would. So that's the outside piece of that rock, and that's the inside obviously. So this won't be too good.